two genius students attend Ikano's academy. Rizu Agata, who is a prodigy in all the sciences, and Fumino Furuhashi, who is a prodigy in all the arts. Nariyuki Yuiga is not a prodigy, but he is an above-average student looking to get a recommendation from his principal. One day he is called to the principal, who will give the recommendation as long as he tutors Rizu and Fumino. The girls have had many tutors already who have abandoned them. And Nariyuki realizes that Rizu, who is a science whiz, wants to go to an art school, and Fumino, who is excellent at the arts, wants to study science. He tests them but finds that they are horrible outside of their natural talents, with Rizu, who can barely read poems, and Fumino, who can't understand math. Nariyuki tracks their progress, but as weeks pass their scores drop from low to rock bottom. He suggests they may tutor each other, but they don't know how to tutor others. He advises them to rethink their plans, but they accuse him of abandoning them like the others and leave. At night he reads through their nonsense notes and remembers how his dead father never gave up on him. Encouraged, he works through the night to write good notes in their schoolbooks and tells them how he used to be a bad student until his father helped him. But the girls accidentally think that he is confessing to them. At the library he continues to tutor them but is embarrassed to be so close to girls. Rizu leaves them to go work, so he walks Fumino home and she keeps watching the sky because she loves stars, which was the reason why she wanted to study science. He later sees Rizu at the park playing cards, and she confesses she is interested in the liberal arts because she wants to know how people think. At the end of the day he goes home to his siblings, but his sister Mizuki smells that he was hanging out with girls and cries. Nariyuki meets his childhood friend Yuruka Takemoto at school, and she begs him to give him her homework. Yuruka is a swimming prodigy and a star athlete of the school, but the principal is worried because her grades are the worst. Since Nariyuki is doing well with Rizu and Fumino, the principal asks him to tutor her as well. Nariyuki tells her the news, but she hates studying and tries to run away. Suddenly he slips and falls into the pool and Yuruka has to save him, but Rizu and Fumino end up seeing him in a compromising position. Yuruka is happy to hear that the other girls are being tutored as well. Secretly, Yuruka overheard Nariyuki in middle school saying that he only let her copy his homework, which led to her crush on him. After school, Rizu is studying literature with Nariyuki, and when Yuruka finds out, she soon arrives with snacks to study with them. Since his family is poor, the lights go out and Rizu is scared of the dark, and Yuruka pretends to be scared to get close to Nariyuki. He lights the candle but it goes out, so he struggles in the dark to light it, but he accidentally fumbles with the girls. The next day, Yuruka has not improved at all and is shocked to hear that in the latest English test she performed the worst out of all the girls. After a few hours, the girls have trouble concentrating, and when Yuruka states that studying isn't fun, Nariyuki tries a strategy to combine studying with swimming by having her dive for vocab terms. Later she gives him a present for helping her, and Nariyuki is happy to be a tutor. Nariyuki is informed that the midterms are coming soon, and if the girls do not do well they will get a new tutor. Their previous tutor Mafuyu Kurisu doesn't believe in his method and tells the principal to get rid of him. Nariyuki hopes that the girls will get an average score, and Fumino and Rizu are scared that he will soon be replaced. Rizu invites Nariyuki to study with her at her family's restaurant, and he meets her intimidating dad. She later expresses worry about the exams, but he tells her not to worry about it. And although in the test there are questions she never studied, she ends up getting a very average score. Fumino needs to do well in her math test, but she ends up sick. He goes to help take care of Fumino at her house with the girls but accidentally walks in on them. Later he tries Yuruka's special porridge to recover from sickness and finds that it is delicious, and Yuruka dreams of marriage. Between the porridge and their care for her, Fumino grows better and is confident she can do average on the upcoming tests, and the principal is surprised that she scores higher than average, so they all celebrate together. A self-conscious Yuruka later tries to dress more girly with the help of her friends, but they ditch her after she changes. She runs into Nariyuki, and they go to a bookstore together for study materials, but Yuruka can only think about everyone calling her a tomboy when she was growing up. In the store she fantasizes being a couple with Nariyuki, and later she gets them to pretend to be a couple to enter a princess carrying competition. Although Nariyuki is not as strong as her, he notices her crying with worry and he manages to barely win the competition. They get a prize, and when Yuruka asks if she looks like a princess, she runs away before he can answer. Fumino is depressed because she has gained weight and she realizes she's been snacking because of her friends. Yuruka jokes that she can never gain weight because she exercises so much, and Fumino is determined to lose weight. Nariyuki walks in with cheese tarts from his sister and Fumino struggles to decline. The next couple days her friends bring more delicious food to share, and Fumino has to throw herself into studies to ignore all the free food she is missing. One day at the library, Nariyuki can tell something is wrong and he attempts to give her a candy, but she refuses because she is afraid of being called a fat water flea. He doesn't think she has gained weight, so she tries to prove it by having him touch her stomach, but the results are inconclusive. She starts to regain her cheer, so she goes to buy snacks for studying. and later her weight goes back to normal. Rizu is confronted one day by Sawako Sakijo, who declares Rizu to be her rival because she is switching to the humanity. Sawako shows Rizu a picture of Nariyuki and argues that Rizu is switching because she has a crush on Nariyuki. Rizu tells her love is meaningless. Later, Sawako stalks them at the restaurant and intrudes on their study session. She is determined to find evidence that Rizu has a crush on Nariyuki, but when she tries to grill them for information, she fails. Nariyuki is amazed that so many girls are talking to him now. That night, Nariyuki tells Sawako that nothing is going on between him and Rizu, and that he is only her tutor. He advises her that if she wants to be friends with Rizu, she should just ask to be friends. Sawako is almost convinced. But when she reads Rizu's work, she realizes that the science whiz probably has feelings for Nariyuki. Yuruka forgets to bring her underclothes one day and tries to avoid activity, but she ends up having gym class with Nariyuki and plays against him in basketball. Although she is self-conscious, her tutor doesn't notice and at the end of the game compliments her skill. Yuruka imagines his compliment as a confession, which energizes her for the rest of the match, and during the match they end up a bit too close to each other, and she accidentally fouls him on the court. Ikeno's Academy has a tradition of going to the mountains for a study retreat, so Nariyuki and his classmates travel to the countryside. At the study retreat, Rizu is having trouble concentrating because she can't look at Nariyuki without blushing, and she struggles to give him an eraser. Rizu tries to rationalize her feelings, but Nariyuki misunderstands her demeanor as rebellion. To calm herself down, Rizu plays cards in the forest, but when trying to do a favor for Nariyuki, she gets lost in the mountains while it's raining. Sawako expresses her concern, so Nariyuki decides to go look for Rizu, and through the storm he follows a trail of cards to rescue her while she is sheltering by a tree. She accidentally slips and they end up kissing each other in the forest. Rizu refuses to speak with him when they return, but when they are punished and tasked to clean the baths, Nariyuki is caught in the baths when the girls arrive. Rizu tries to get the girls to leave to protect Nariyuki, but they misunderstand her and head into the baths anyway. Nariyuki is forced to hide in the sauna, and Rizu tries to get the other girls to leave, but they turn it into a competition. Sawako ends up discovering him, but when she also tries to help him sneak out, he accidentally runs into Yuruka. But luckily she thought he was a hallucination. Later, Nariyuki thanks Rizu for helping him, and they decide to leave the kiss behind them as an accident. Back at school, the former tutor Mafuyu coldly questions his progress with the girls. She also reveals she knows about his kiss with Rizu, and accuses him of illicit activity with the girls. The girls who are eavesdropping accidentally make it worse, with Fumino talking about her stomach, Rizu talking about the baths, and Yuruka talking about the basketball game. Mafuyu attempts to convince Nariyuki to tell the girls to not follow their passions so they can lead better lives, and he realizes that she cares a lot more than she seems, because the injuries on her hands reveal she was also looking for Rizu in the forest. They come to an understanding and Mafuyu lets him off. The principal is happy with the progress, but word has spread around the class that Nariyuki kissed someone. A Yuruka who daydreams of a relationship with him is worried when she hears about the kiss and questions him. She runs when she thinks he has a girlfriend. Fumino finds her and gives her advice, but they discover the rumors snowball even worse than they thought. The rumors have shaken all the girls, so all their scores start to drop dramatically. Fumino, who has discovered that Rizu and Yuruka both have feelings for Nariyuki, struggles to help either of them. Yuruka decides to ask Nariyuki to walk with her, and the embarrassed and nervous couple end up walking together very fast. They go to pray at a shrine, and Nariyuki prays for good grades while Yuruka prays for romantic success. When it rains, Yuruka pretends to fall asleep to see if Nariyuki will pet her, but when she feels touching on her, she realizes she is being licked by cats. When they go home, she is happy when he unintentionally compliments her. Fumino and Nariyuki are studying together when the blue-haired girl accidentally falls on him. When Rizu sees them, Fumino becomes worried that she has become a rival to Rizu. Fumino asks Nariyuki to hold Rizu's hand to cheer her up, and she later pushes them together into an embarrassing hug. Later, she finds out that Rizu just had to change her glasses, so she only looked angry. Nariyuki is walking home one day when he spots a cat in a tree. He tries to rescue the cat, but it jumps in, and nearby Mafuyu tries to help the cat but ends up hurting her foot. Nariyuki takes Mafuyu home but discovers her apartment is a complete mess when she gets trapped in her stuff. To thank him, they have coffee together and she helps him catch up on his schoolwork by tutoring him. After hours of study, he accidentally sits on unmentionables and he insists on cleaning up the apartment. While cleaning, he finds trophies when Mafuyu was a young figure skater. Mafuyu hides the trophies and calls her younger self a fool, and that an educator's role is to lead students towards a path where their talents are and not to foolish passions. Nariyuki disagrees, but they respect each other. When he leaves, Mafuyu loses her cold exterior and is embarrassed because it was the first time a boy had been in her room. Fumino hears about Nariyuki's visit to their teacher Mafuyu's apartment and she becomes worried. She tries to give him advice because there are so many rumors about him, but accidentally meets him at the local love spot for the school, causing more rumors. Soon the rumors accidentally turn into them being secret lovers. At their study session, they find that several students are eavesdropping and spying on them as they want to test if Nariyuki is good enough for Fumino. The spies become bored and end up studying as well. Since Nariyuki's family is poor, he becomes excited to get a smartphone for the first time. But he has no idea how to use it. The girls teach him, and he learns about the benefits of studying and bathing at the same time. Fumino is also studying and bathing, and they text each other. To her embarrassment, Nariyuki wonders how Rizu is doing, so he also calls her. And although her father picks up at first, Nariyuki discovers she is also doing a study bath. At first, Rizu isn't embarrassed, until she visualizes them together. Yuruka calls him later, and he finds out that she is just bathing, and not studying at all. In her embarrassment, she accidentally turns on video call with him still on the line. And a shocked Nariyuki drops his phone into the tub. Later, Yuruka is determined to do well in study, but also win competitions for her swimming team. But juggling so many responsibilities becomes overwhelming, and she ends up sick in the infirmary. Nariyuki arrives to visit her and admires her dedication, but while she is asleep, she hugs him. Her friends arrive and he hides, but while underneath her bed, he overhears that Yuruka has a crush on him. Nariyuki gets no sleep, and he believes that her crush must be a misunderstanding of some kind. He becomes embarrassed tutoring her, and when she treats him to dinner for helping her. Later that night, when she asks if he has anyone he likes, he says he doesn't like anyone, but accidentally asks her if she has a crush on him. Yuruka laughs it off and denies liking him, and Nariyuki wonders who her crush is. One day, Nariyuki sees Mafuyu just sitting outside her apartment looking lost. It turns out she has a cockroach at her apartment, and he sees that her apartment has also become messy again. When he tries to kill the cockroach, Mafuyu is too scared and distracts him. Nariyuki cleans up the apartment, but she prevents him from leaving until he kills the cockroach. They end up studying for hours waiting for the cockroach. But when his teacher orders food, Rizu is the one to deliver their dinner. Rizu demands an explanation, but Mafuyu signals for him to be silent. Later, when Mafuyu leaves to make coffee, Nariyuki tries to tell Rizu that their teacher is socially awkward and that she cares a lot about her students, but Rizu doesn't believe him. They hear a scream, and Mafuyu falls on him because she sees the bug again. But Rizu finds them. Rizu isn't scared of bugs, so she kills the cockroach. That night, Rizu thinks there might be more to Mafuyu than she thought. Nariyuki's mother is sick, so he takes over her shift at the department store, but realizes that he has to work in the women's section to help him from being embarrassed. They put him in a mascot suit where he can't speak. To his horror, Yuruka and Rizu arrive at the shop, and he tries to reveal his identity but can't reach his zipper. Yuruka teaches him how to measure sizes for clothes and help customers with clothes, but the embarrassment becomes too much for him. When the girls leave, he is called to help a customer who is actually Mafuyu and ends up helping her change. Fumino later arrives to look for bras in her small size, but suddenly sees Nariyuki in the costume and dies inside. Summer break arrives, so Nariyuki is at his summer courses. He meets a short girl named Asumi, but accidentally insults her because she is an alumna of his school and older than him. She gives him good studying advice, and he leaves to go home, but is pressured by gentlemen to go to a maid cafe. There he accidentally sees Asumi working at the cafe with a different personality. She is working there to pay for medical school tuition, and when times are slow, she studies. But Nariyuki accidentally discovers that her science grades are terrible. Nariyuki helps her study, and over time he goes to the maid cafe every day to see Asumi. One day he runs into Asumi's father, and he accidentally sees Asumi in a maid outfit. Her angry father accuses her of working an indecent job, but Asumi uses Nariyuki as a fake boyfriend with a weird maid interest. Asumi starts to argue with her father about medical school, and Nariyuki tries to argue that Asumi has the potential to be great at science and he will support her. To thank him for his help, Asumi takes him to a cafe, and they run into the girls who love her because she is so small. Nariyuki reveals he is tutoring the girls, and they join him and Asumi at the summer course, but the pace is way too fast for them. When they go home, it starts to rain, so they all go to Asumi's house, but Fumino accidentally discovers Asumi's dad calling Nariyuki his daughter's boyfriend. Fumino confronts him, and both he and Asumi explain the situation, and Asumi is certain that Fumino has feelings for her tutor. Mafuyu is walking home one day and sees Nariyuki entering the maid cafe. She worries about his reputation and is surprised to see her former student Asumi working there. Mafuyu accidentally falls and injures a waitress, so the teacher ends up working at the cafe to make up for the accident. Mafuyu is incredibly embarrassed but tries her best. Asumi assigns her to clean the cafe, but the hopeless teacher has no idea how to clean. Nariyuki helps her clean, and the cafe isn't angry because they needed a clumsy maid stereotype. Later, they also discover that she is a super lightweight. because she was drunk from one sip. Nariyuki takes her back to her apartment and she mutters embarrassing things while drunk. The next morning, she finds she has run out of clothes, so she wears her old high school outfit. A police officer catches her and Nariyuki steps in to explain the awkward situation. She gives him a ride to school and is a scary driver. Then he helps her sneak through school to avoid embarrassment while she gets her documents. Since her car is out of gas, they walk home and Mafuyu reveals she didn't remember high school much because she only focused on figure skating. So Nariyuki buys her ice cream to cheer her up. Rizu and Fumino arrive and they have to hide, but they manage to escape notice when Nariyuki fakes kissing Mafuyu. Nariyuki finds himself embarrassed to be around Yuruka, so he goes to Fumino for advice. Fumino, who knows all of the love triangles, tries to talk to both Nariyuki and Yuruka. She manipulates a situation to get them alone together while she eavesdrops. She almost blows her cover, but her pads help her disguise her identity. Fumino uses her phone to guide them into conversation, but every topic she suggests backfires as it relives embarrassing memories. She then accidentally sends embarrassing texts to Sawako, who is asking about her new hairstyle. Somehow the conversation between Nariyuki and Yuruka improves, and later Nariyuki thanks Fumino for her helpful advice. At a swim tournament, Yuruka and her team perform well, but are disqualified when her teammate makes a mistake. She comforts her teammate and Nariyuki walks home with her since he watched the match. He is amazed how she handled the disappointment, and to cheer her up they visit their old middle school. At the school, Yuruka sees the hallway where her crush on him started and remembers fond memories from her school day. Yuruka later reveals that she was going to give up swimming until he encouraged her when they were younger and she always wanted to thank him. Nariyuki is touched, and since he knows she has a crush on someone, he volunteers to help her confess to her crush. Yuruka gives him a heartfelt confession, but Nariyuki accidentally thinks that she's just practicing. She tosses him into the pool. The girls have a steady sleepover and make good progress, but at night Sawako states she feels sorry for whoever would be Nariyuki's girlfriend in the future. Later, Nariyuki is at a festival with his family, and they end up meeting Fumino and Yuruka. Fumino is embarrassed when he compliments her outfit, and she runs away to leave Yuruka and Nariyuki together. The pair decide to go to Rizu's family's stall to get food, and they decide to help Rizu's family. Yuruka helps to cook while Nariyuki helps with deliveries. Meanwhile, Fumino is happy to help set up her friends but feels lonely eating alone, so she stares at the stars. Rizu and Nariyuki finish the deliveries and eat food. And when Rizu leaves, Nariyuki discovers Mafuyu hiding her identity so she can win prizes at children's games. She runs away but hurts herself, and Nariyuki takes her to the hospital tent where Asumi is working. Since Asumi is busy, he helps his teacher with first aid. Fumino discovers that she has been staring at the stars so long that she will miss her train. But she can't leave because she has to help a lost child. At the hospital tent, Asumi teases Nariyuki that the next time they will go to the festival together. He tries to go home before it is too late but also finds a lost child. In the end, Fumino and Nariyuki both miss the train and it is too late for taxis. They walk into town but only a hotel is open. And to avoid suspicion they pretend to be siblings so they can rent a room for the night. To their horror, there is only one futon, and they try to find a way to sleep without embarrassing themselves. In the end, they end up using the futon together and can't help but be aware of each other. At night, the sky is clear and they can see the stars. And Fumino, who loves stars, points out several constellations. Fumino fell in love with stars after reading about an astronaut who dreamed of going to space at an old age, from a book she got from her sick mother who promised she would watch over Fumino from the stars. That night, they fall asleep together. And this is all for this video. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.